My name's Buz Kloot, and I work for the University of South Carolina at the Arnold School of Public Health in the Environmental Health Science Department. I'm an aquatic scientist by training, and it was about 10 years ago where I met Ray Archuleta. At that time, I was a very frustrated aquatic scientist because everything I did was about determining cause of death of a water body. And when I met Ray Archuleta, I discovered that soils can change, and that changed my own life. So from about 2010 onwards, February 2010 onwards, my whole focus was soil health. I've just finished speaking to a crowd here in Abbeville, and what one really has to realize is that soils are diverse. We need to remember that they're living. And we need to remember that part of soil health and the soil health idea is that we are trying to mimic nature. And so every piece of land, when we're mimicking nature, we need to see what that land is doing. And there are 5 soil health principles that we like to talk about. These are principles that you adhere to, and then you determine what practices based on your land and what you're trying to achieve and what the goals you have, and then also the resource concerns you have. But the 5 principles are minimum disturbance, so minimum physical, chemical, and biological disturbance. Obviously, you have to disturb some, but we find that minimum or no tillage is, for instance, probably one of the better strategies that we use. We want to keep the soil covered year-round, so either have a residue or a live root, and that's going to protect the soil mainly from raindrop impact, and then in the summer from direct sunlight. So nature rarely is uncovered, and Mother Nature likes to cover herself, either if we're not going to do it with cover crops or a cash crop, she's going to do it with weeds. The third principle is keep a live root in the soil year-round, and so you want something growing and living. So in the warm season, you would want to have warm season plants, in the cool season plants. So you're always making sure you've got something in the ground that's living, that's literally harvesting the sunlight and feeding soil microbes, because those microbes in turn feed the plants. The fourth principle is diversity, diversity, diversity. My row crop friends do this by extending their crop rotations, and then by using multi-species cover crops. We just had a talk this morning by Terry Chandler, who talked about how to utilize diversity in his livestock operation. So not only does he make use of warm and cool season pastures, perennial pastures, but he makes use of a terrific amount of cool season and warm season annuals that he throws into that system. The fifth principle that is a little bit more difficult, but one that we're really excited about, is looking at reincorporating livestock into the cropping system. So making sure that animals are part of that. If you go back to what this landscape might have been 300 years ago, the land and the grass and the forbs and the plants and the animals and the land had a relationship. And what we're trying to do is restore that. And we notice that when we bring animals back onto the landscape, we are able to advance our soil health a lot more. So these are a number of short principles that I can give you to follow. There are a tremendous amount of resources online that I'd encourage you to look at. Just go online and search soil health or regenerative agriculture, and you're going to come up with a huge amount. The other one might be everything cover crops or regenerative grazing. So hopefully this works for you, and I appreciate for the opportunity to speak.